Billy Carson does not want you to see this debate. Billy Carson is trying to bury this debate, and he's running into some roadblocks, and there's legal action being threatened and taken, and this is where we're at. So go ahead and play this.
According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Okay,
Sure.
first of all,
When you say
this is so these are the types of claims he makes.
Yeah.
According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified. Of course, if Jesus wasn't crucified, then he couldn't have been resurrected. These are the sorts of claims he makes. The issue with these claims is they're easily debunkable.
According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically? Refer to the Sinai Bible. Would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus? Like the codex that comes... Okay, that's why I was trying to get some clarification, because I actually have a facsimile. So I have a photocopy of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office.
Okay.
So
okay. First of all, slight flex.
I mean, the whole thing is a flex. He's like, what specifically are you referring to? Are you referring to Connecticus, Sinaiticus?
Codex Sinaiticus. And then he pulls out.
Then he pulls it out.
He pulls out a photocopy version of the entire thing.
That's great.
I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because Sinaiticus in particular is just a 4th century Greek manuscript. Its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. When you say that it...
And a lot of translations are created from this Codex Sinaiticus, earliest kind of compilation of the Greek manuscripts, right? Because all these were different letters and scrolls.
So it's just a compilation of the earliest Greek manuscripts
put in kind of a book form, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so because before they were just letters and scrolls, so someone finally compiled the copies of the copies of the copies of the copies, right? Because there's multiple manuscripts going out, being sent out, and then they finally compiled it. And so you do textual criticism by going back to the oldest and to the latest, and you find out that there's not much difference, and they compiled it all into the Codex Sinaiticus.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
denies the crucifixion, or that the crucifixion isn't there. I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified, and that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or John 19, or any of the other ones. So my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently.
First of all, Wes is so patient and so loving.
Yeah. He's like, can I have a clarifying question? I'm so confused by what you're saying.
I can't be this guy. This is why I tend not to like debates unless they're in person.
Yeah.
Because I can't be this charitable over the internet. This is a skill that Gavin Ortland has. I'd say Trent Horn has. Wes has. I'm a crash out. If you say something crazy, I'm a crash out over the internet.
Yeah.
In person, it's different.
Yeah. Over the internet, you're gonna be like, Billy, it doesn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
So he just completely changed the claim.
It wasn't Codex Sinaiticus. It wasn't the Sinai Bible. It was the Gospel of Barnabas.
So he just completely changed the claim, and then,
What?
and then it completely turns into a whole nother discussion.
But it gets good. Play.
Never got crucified. As a matter of fact, the Sinai Bible, Jesus was crucified. Well, that doesn't exist in the Sinai Bible. The Sinai Bible. The Sinai Bible. But then you go to the Sinai Bible. In the Sinai Bible. And the Sinai Bible. According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
Yeah, actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there.
This is a claim he's made everywhere.
I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas. Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
I've actually worked with, there are 2 manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas.
Okay. So
He's like,
one,
I actually reincarnated, but my past life wrote the Gospel of Barnabas, and
so one, he makes this outlandish claim of the Sinai Bible. That's not in the Sinai Bible, right? It's not in there. That's been debunked. So then he goes to the Gospel of Barnabas.
Yeah.
Now that sounds, Barnabas? Well, Barnabas was in Acts, and he moved around with Paul. And
yeah, that sounds legitimate.
that sounds legitimate. Well, pull it back and look at Billy completely to the horror of this entire situation. What?
He really got cooked, huh?
Bro, it was
I
bad.
misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Hey,
Jesus
first of all, props to Billy for at least misquoted, for acknowledging that he misquoted. Props to him. It's just the issue you've done this probably on a dozen podcasts, big podcasts, shows. These are big podcasts. So my heart for Billy is maybe this will finally break him and bring him back to Jesus.
Hello.
Right? Because I don't think he's beyond redemption. I think the Lord can use him in great ways. What a beautiful arc to the story this would be.
The Gospel of Barnabas. Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
I've actually worked with, there are 2 manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have 2 copies of. One is in Italian and one is in Spanish. Not to be confused with either the...
First problem. What's the first problem?
Those weren't the
They're
original
in
languages.
Italian and Spanish,
Yeah,
fam.
those are very... Those weren't the original.
Barnabas didn't speak Italian or Spanish, fam.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Go ahead.
It's like me, it's a spaghetti.
Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are 2 apocryphal documents from the 2nd century. But the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery. In chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem. It shows no actual indication of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding.
So it's not.
It gets better. It gets better. This is light.
It's not corroborated by any of the other writings, obviously.
Fam, it's written in languages that they didn't even speak.
It's written in language they didn't speak, and it's not even like it doesn't have a geographical understanding of the land.
Yeah.
It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah. Whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. The Gospel of Barnabas paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. We don't have any...
So he's just saying this is like a Christian fan fiction of Dante's Inferno
From 1300.
Wow.
Evidence of it.
But he presents it as, well, oh, my bad, it was the Gospel of Barnabas.
The Gospel of Barnabas,
implying
as if
Gospel of
it's-
Barnabas is written in the 1st century. Not maybe he wasn't directly implying, but this is 1,200 years later.
Implying that it is a book that because of the Council of Nicaea,
It was left out.
It was left out, but it is actually so revealing.
to the 14th century.
Hold
So
back,
I'm a
hold back, blah, 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 blah. This is amazing.
historian. He didn't know that those were the same words. The Gospel of Barnabas paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. We don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century. So I'm a historian.
Yep.
So if there is something that denies the crucifixion, I want to make sure that I'm analyzing it and that the methodology by which I analyze it actually reveals that the content can be accurately tied to the event. We have...
Yo, Billy Carson's face to this whole thing looks like someone that's asking an accountant about tax information. Like he's kind of like, okay, yeah. Like
Poor guy.
he's just nodding his head the whole time, like, okay.
I almost feel bad for Billy.
Like he's getting schooled right now.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for Billy. The only reason I don't feel bad for Billy is because of he's been peddling and pushing this stuff. Like, no one would care if you just peddled your alien videos and all that. Like, the aliens came down and they talked. It's the issue is that in his mind, in order for all of that to be true, he has to attack Christianity. It's interesting. And when you get into the alien stuff, what is it? We talked about this before. It's all inverted. It's all inverted. It's these beings that are coming down similar to Jesus coming down, except the beings are coming down with advanced technology. Jesus is coming down in a manger as a humble baby.
Hello.
Right? Lower technology, right? And so that's the issue. Like Jesus coming in vulnerable, they're coming in powerful. So it's like it has to be inverted. You know what I mean? It has to be it has to be inverted. And so he has to attack the true story, which is Jesus, Emmanuel, God among us. And that's how he set himself this trap by consistently attacking Christianity, and he finally got his card pulled.
That's crazy.
Go ahead.
Single copies of the Gospels that can be dated to the 2nd century that all do have the crucifixion. I have a facsimile behind me of P66. This is a late 2nd century copy of the Gospel of John. I work with this particular manuscript. This is an almost complete copy of the Gospel of John, and it has the crucifixion. And so if we're relying on something like the Gospel of Barnabas, which is not just that there's debate about it, it's that it's a known forgery. I mean, no one's referring to the Gospel of Barnabas as anything other than...
If you say it's a known forgery, yes, but I'm going to go with that.
So he pretty much conceded.
He conceded.
And said like, all
if
right.
If you say it's a forgery, I'm going to go with that. Then what ends up happening is he basically says, that's only 1/10 of what I talk about. That's only a small percentage. We don't care all the other stuff you're teaching. We care about the stuff you're teaching about Christianity.
Yeah.
That's our beef with you, bro. Okay, last clip.
Crazy.
Ain't this good?
They discovered the book
phenomenal.
of Jesus. They discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary. A little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then that's true. It adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified.
So the Gospel of
So what is it? So you see what he did? Oh, it's at the Harvard Library.
Yeah.
So that's like the credibility anchor, right? Now watch what Wes does.
Jesus' wife is in the Harvard Library. However, the reason we know it's also not legitimate is because even though the manuscript, the papyrus that it's on, was carbon dated to the 4th century, the text was actually copied from a PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas known as Grondin's Interlinear. And they're
Copy from a PDF, like it's as new as the internet.
I think so.
So it's not even like a in the 1300s type of copy. It's like a 1990s copy. It's like a 2005 copy.
It is good.
there was a mistake in the Coptic text of Grondin's Interlinear that was copied into the Gospel of Jesus' wife. We can tie it directly to not copying from an ancient text, but actually copying from an online version of the Gospel of Thomas in a PDF form. I think we need to make sure that we're going toward not just early sources, but actually credible sources. And unfortunately, neither the Gospel of Barnabas nor the Gospel of Jesus' wife are credible sources and agreed upon by not just the vast majority of scholarship, but I don't know anybody in the field of papyrology, paleography, historiography, who actually refers to these documents as being legitimate.
That's fair enough. I can respect that. So let's go into the Old Testament a little bit.
One time for Wes Huff. Protect Wes Huff at all.
Wow.
At all cost. Protect him at all cost. He apparently Billy is crashing out on top of his crash out, which he's sending people cease and desist letters. Haven't got mine yet.
I'll say this. Wes Huff cooking Billy while also being this like shredded, jacked historian
And super sweet about it.
with a cool like kind of set.
Yeah.
Makes being a biblical historian look really cool and fun.
Yeah, bro.
It makes you feel like you want to like, oh, I kind of want to sit with a photocopy of the Greek and just stare at it because I can't read Greek.
Yo, apparently Billy is crashing out, sending everybody cease and desist, including Wes. I have not got my cease and desist yet.
Hello.
But that joint got over 100,000 views. We made sure.
Does it?
Yeah, our video of him showing up on the doorbell cam is at 100,000 views.
That is funny.
Okay.
Yo.
So this will probably get some views. I'm sharing everything Wes is sharing on Instagram.
This is great.
Okay. So I am ecstatic for this. And you know what we just paid for today?
Insurance.
Media insurance.
Let's go.
Come at me, bro. Now we got lawyers.
Just don't tell them our limit.
Yeah, just don't go past our limit.
Yeah.
Don't tell them what the limit is. Shout out to my guy, Ben. Yo, Ben drove like a gajillion hours to be at our live podcast event last year.
He's going to do it again.
And are you driving or flying this time, Ben? And he's coming back to our 3-day summit, March 27th, 28th, 29th, that I am extremely ecstatic about. Hopefully, Ben, we see you again, and we'll hook you up when you get here. I don't know which ticket you bought, but we'll make sure we take care of you, man. We take care of our own. We take care of you. We take care of our own. Excited to hang with you again in person for the Blessed God Summit. Zach will be there. I will be there.
I'll be there.
The gang will be there. We're about to announce some other people.
Caleb will be there.
Caleb will be there. All right. Love you guys. Peace. For far too long, the bar for Christians has been set low. More Christians are skipping church, watching online, too busy for group, and not serving in their local church communities. They go about their lives not feeling connected to Jesus, and in turn, their salvation goes unnoticed by their unsaved peers. They've become indistinguishable from the world around them. We need to shift from asking, what is the bare minimum I can do for Christ, and start asking, what would it look like to live a life entirely devoted to Him? 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 12 describes a life that seems to have been forgotten. Live such good lives among the pagans that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day He visits us. So join me and my favorite pastors, podcasters, and performers March 27th through 29th at the Blessed God Summit in Southern California, and discover your personal ministry, calling, and purpose when living in complete devotion to Jesus.